Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ice Cream for Everyone podcast. This is your host, Willem Vanderhorst. Welcome to the show. Welcome to another episode. We've got something very special. I've got something very special prepared for you. I hope you'll be patient with me in this particular episode. I've really decided to go out of my usual comfort zone in something that, I don't know, may have been a complete mistake and I'm not going to do it again in a hurry, or at least not in the same way and not prepare in the same way. So really, the idea is live and learn. So I hope it's enjoyable for you as well. So as we described this episode, and the guest in the episode is my good friend Jean-Paul Biondi, JP, in Chicago. And it was based on his idea to go out and to do a live review of a restaurant and to see what it would sound like. So it's a bit of a mix. It's an interview with him. We used to work together at Saatchi & Saatchi in Singapore. And now he works for Lyft, the ride-sharing company, as the marketing director for all of the Midwest. So mostly it's Chicago and Milwaukee, but he talks about that a little bit more and talks about his background. And so it's a mix between being at a bar and being at a restaurant. And the idea was to do restaurants that are really famous live up to the hype? And there's this place in Chicago called Au Cheval, famous for his burger, organized as a fancy diner type of place, and named after the type of, putting an egg on top, which we talk about that in the show. And it's the first time recording out in the field. And I've had some trouble editing. Basically the advice I'd read and heard beforehand is don't do it. It's really not a good idea to be recording with a lot of sound in the background. And then while struggling to edit this whole thing, I remembered that I had read last year that the main smartest thing I could possibly do was improve the input of my recording. So recording in the best conditions possible so as to minimize the difficulty of editing because, I'm not a professional editor. And so far I've been doing it myself for a couple of reasons. I want to learn how to do editing myself. I understand a little bit what I'm doing. Eventually, I'd love to work with somebody else who can edit my podcast. But there's also been just budgetary considerations. And as you know, I've been moving and et cetera. There's been a bunch of reasons, not that they matter right now. Anyhow, so I had a awesome conversation with JP. We go over what the idea for the episode is. I had an idea in the first place that it would be sort of the end of season episode and to do a whole experiment with it. But given I took a break earlier this year, I'm just redefining what a season is for this. And the season is going to just be running throughout 2017. I'll end the season at the end of the year before Christmas or sometime in December. I'll keep publishing every other Wednesday. If you missed the last episode, I made a promise. I'm going to be publishing every other Wednesday. So midweek, that means Wednesday. Every other Wednesday. Yeah, basically. So that's what's going to be happening. And even more so than usual, given it's a bit of an unusual episode, there's quite a bit of noise in the background, music in the background. I learned it's really difficult to edit out. I think it sounds okay. It's really not the best sounding episode I've published. Bear with me. I hope you're looking forward to finding out both about JP, me talking a little bit about my family and about food, our opinion about the restaurant Au Cheval, whether it's worth the wait for the famous burger they have or not. We had to wait 2 hours for that. And a few other things so first, thank you so much to everybody in the restaurant. I just wildly recorded this. I didn't tell them about it. Thank you very much to the couple of people we're hearing in this. We're hearing a few people, our server a tiny bit and, our neighbors a tiny bit. If ever you happen to hear this and recognize yourself, I apologize. I didn't, get a release form or anything. If ever that's an issue for you, send me a message. I'll re-edit everything and take you up. But otherwise, to our server, thank you so much for the service. It was awesome. And you'll find out about the verdict of the actual burger. Otherwise, a couple of things I would just wanted to specify for and admit my own ignorance, basically, in cooking. We're talking about a Mornay sauce at some point, and I just discover that it tastes like a bechamel. And yes, of course it would taste like a bechamel because a Mornay is a bechamel with cheese in it. And the funny thing is, so it's usually with Gruyere or some Emmental, or the funny thing is the way I remember my family, my mom and I think my aunts making bechamel when I was a kid was there was always cheese in it. So I didn't know that there was a distinction. I didn't realize the distinction between Mornay and bechamel. I usually always have cheese in the bechamel. But yeah, bechamel is, the base is butter, and flour and milk, and then with the cheese is a morning. So also, I wasn't describing bechamel properly either. So that's anyway. Yeah, I like to pretend I'm French, but I don't really know exactly all the history and everything else. Those are my brothers that are specialists on the cooking side. I just like to eat and pretend like I know what I'm talking about when I really don't know what I'm talking about. So any idea of me doing food reviews and criticizing food is a completely personal opinion. I do have some distinction of flavor, but I'm by no way means at all a professional whatsoever in that. All right, so I'd love to have your opinion about this episode. Do you enjoy this kind of experimental thing? Is it listenable? If it's not listenable, please tell me. Like, if you really like, you have to stop halfway through. I'd love to know about it. And you can communicate all of that either on my Facebook page if you just type in Ice Cream for Everyone, or of course you can send me a message via my website. That's at www.icecreamforeveryone.net. You can communicate with me on Twitter. My handle is ICVillem, letters I and C, WILLEM. And you can send me an email. That's at willem.icecreamforeveryone.net. And if you want to give the show a review, that would be amazing. So you just go into iTunes, leave a review, and into iTunes, that also means your podcasting iPhone app, which is like basically linked into iTunes and the podcast offering. And like that. So we'll be back soon for some new episodes. If you want to know if the burger is as amazing as advertised, well, please listen on, and I'd love to hear what you think at the end of the episode. Enjoy. All right, JP, welcome to the show.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So this is a bit of an experimental episode.
Yeah.
We are in Chicago's West Loop, and I'm for the first time recording out in the fields.
In the wild.
In the wilds of Chicago's hip West Loop. In a bar right now, and we're going to see and also recording with brand new microphones. And this is going to be the end of season episode, even though it's been a bit of a patchy season because I moved to the States and but let's talk a little bit about where we are. Talk a little bit about what the idea for this episode is.
Yeah.
And but let's start with a quick intro. So obviously everybody knows I'm Willem, so I'm obviously the host of the show. People have heard you if they listen to the Chicago Sounds of Summer episode. We had a bit of a chat, but I'm not sure how much we did a proper introduction of you last time. That's
true, yeah. Well, JP, as you know. So anyway, yeah, my name's JP. We're very good friends, and that's it. I mean, I work in marketing and advertising. Well, marketing now. That's my professional side of things, but otherwise, yeah, live in Chicago. Yeah, and I love it.
And I can't remember if I mentioned this back in whenever we did the first episode, but we met back in Singapore. We worked together at Saatchi & Saatchi. Yep. And then, you made your foray into marketing, and currently you're working for
Lyft, the ride-sharing company.
That's right.
So the head of marketing for the Midwest, and just kind of manage that side of manage everything on that front of the business pretty much across Illinois and Wisconsin for the most part. Yeah. Really just taking care of growing the brand and growing the business.
Yeah, and I want to specify the whole the main idea for this type of episode that we're testing out experimentally is your brainchild.
Yes, we were. No, we were at the park. Yeah, we were at the park having coffee, talking about ideas for what we can start and what we can do. And I was just thinking about the fact that, when we go out to eat dinner, as we do consistently, we drink and we eat, which is great. There's always we always get in these fun conversations. Well, actually, that time we had just come off of going to Pub Royale.
That's right.
And we had great expectations going in. We love Indian food. It didn't exactly deliver.
No, exactly.
But we were also a bit buzzed at the time because we had gone to the Queen Mary down the street. And so I think the conversation was really
We had to wait for an hour and a half for that too.
Yeah, we waited for an hour and a half, which is the same situation now.
Yes.
Well, a little longer now.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit.
And so we waited for an hour and a half. The bread, I remember the naan was burnt, right?
And it was tasteless.
Yeah, it was tasteless and burned.
And so the concept of the restaurant, just like so over.
Oh, yeah.
A pub royale is meant to be, or is, a mix of like a British pub mixed with Indian food because, like, you know, the British Raj kind of made sense.
Yeah.
And an overall hipsterish feel and some fusion dishes sort of thing, right?
They had a mix. They had a burger. So they had like a burger, which was kind of strange on the menu, but they had it there. We didn't get it. But we had got like an eggplant curry. So the big disappointment about that, right, was the fact that like we ordered the curries and then we ordered a side of rice, but the waitress didn't bother to tell us that actually all the curries come with better rice.
Yes.
Which
We ordered
like,
bread on the sides. We can make that a whole other episode, but basically, hated it. And there was also the part about the fact that, or at least that's how I heard it, but you tell me that that I can tend to have quite overt.
So basically, like I think that that's like part of like the family history too, right? Your family, like you have two brothers who are Michelin-starred chefs. You have a sister who owns a winery, right? I mean, this is a family that's very involved in food and sort of food culture, and like you're French, so that helps. Not to knock on the French, but like like I think that like that food culture of like that very, so like that kind of was always fun to like listen to like that sort of like like when we're at, like really digging into like the nuances of a dish, like when we're at a restaurant, like even if it's like a place that's like a pub, it's like we're eating like a cheeseburger at a pub. It's like, all right, like chill the it's a cheeseburger. Like I'm not gonna go and like break apart and deconstruct the cheeseburger at a pub, but you do, and I think that's pretty funny.
Yes.
So the idea being like real-time reviews with Willem, the fact that like, well, let's just go to a restaurant, get drunk, and talk, and see what happens, because you never know, because it could be really, really funny.
Exactly, and so I thought about it, loved the idea immediately. Yeah. This is going to be a little bit different, showing my side of, well, being a bit of a food snob occasionally. Although,
totally, right?
If I hate something, I'll say it loudly and very opinionatedly, and if I love it, it's the same way.
Yeah. Well, I think the intention, the intention isn't to go in that you hate the food. Mm-hmm. It's like, that's not why you're going there. You're going there, I mean? So it's like, so now, like, we're sitting in Lone Wolf in West Loop, having some beers, waiting for our table to be ready to go into Au Cheval. So it's like Au Cheval has like that whole, aura to it. I've never eaten there.
I thought you had.
I've had Small Cheval.
Oh, okay.
Which is like their little version. I've had that like for lunch, right? Which is not their full version. So this is the first time I'm eating in this restaurant.
Oh, wow.
Dude.
So for everybody, Au Cheval is this place, so obviously with a French name, based on the idea, which is Au Cheval, but I still don't understand why they haven't just named it that way. But anyway, Au Cheval in France is a horseback, which is an egg on top. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the traditional kind of things to eat. Like it's just like a burger patty with an egg on top.
And that's basically what I understand this is. Yeah.
And this has been deemed some of the best food, like the best burger in America ever. Yeah. And I'm going to pull a couple of reviews because this is like the raving reviews.
Like we're here on a Tuesday night.
Yes.
After work on a Tuesday night, and there's a 2-hour wait.
Yeah, 2-hour wait apparently is traditional.
And on Tuesday, yeah, and you're like, oh my gosh.
And some of the reviews are like, why people wait for hours to eat at Au Cheval's Cheeseburger. Is it the best burger in America? Most people are saying yes. Is this the best burger in the world? In style, lifestyle. Chicago's Au Cheval has become a skyscraper in the foodie skyline, having been hailed as the birthplace of one of the best burgers in the country.
Wow.
By Bon Appetit, Eater, Food Network, Business Insider, etc. The Au Cheval cheeseburger has transcended being a mere meal and become a proudly sought-after merit badge that foodies flock to earn by Instagramming. And we're going to be doing it by podcasting.
Yes!
Because I love, as a French person, to cut the head off like the kings, and if there's like those kind of sacred idols. I don't like sacred idols.
Yeah. No, exactly right. And I think it's it's funny. So like even like on Sunday last week, we went to Pitchfork, and then Sunday night we went to Little Goat, which is the sort of smaller like cafe restaurant of another restaurant that's well known, and again in West Loop, and like that place, I mean, like I think your comments were fair to the server. Like, yeah, look, I mean, their fries were super super salty. you know, and it was sort of like,
Yeah.
It's like a fair comment. So let's see. I mean, that place has like, you know, it's known for their food, and this place obviously is 2 hours away. So I have no idea.
No, me neither. And we're going to be experimenting with what does an audio real-time review of food sound like. Is it interesting? I have no idea.
So you're going to be getting kind of the, you know, chomping on food.
Yeah, there might be a bit of that. There's going to be a little bit more editing for me, for sure.
There'll be a bit of, you know, slipping beers.
And I'm also looking at Yelp reviews, and I love this one. This is from an hour ago, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Leisha F., 1 star. To say the cheeseburger was disappointing would be an understatement.
Wow.
Like other Yelpers warned, the cheeseburger was so salty, all caps.
Uh-oh.
It's been 3 hours since I ate it. I only ate a third of it and had to stop, and I'm still parched.
Wow.
I had to drink half a cup of water between every bite and decided to just stop eating it despite being hungry.
Oh my God.
The burger probably contained an entire week's worth of sodium. On the plus side, the meat was tender and juicy, but I could barely enjoy it because my tongue was numb.
Oh, there's a plus side to that.
Maybe I went on a bad day. And I want to point out, I had a look this afternoon on Yelp, right? Yelp has over 4,000 reviews for this place.
And what's their star rate?
The overall star rate is 4 point something.
Yeah.
About 2,300 people gave it a 5-star review. And I had a look around with what. So I mean, I want to mention a couple of 5-star ones. But I looked at the 1-star ones. Most of the time, it was people annoyed that they had to wait for a long time.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Or for other of the newly, like, hipsterish type things where you can't get the table unless the whole party's here. Right?
All right, yeah.
But the other comments that were recurring was the fact that it was really, really salty.
Uh-oh.
And I just walked in when I ordered the table earlier, and just, what's amazing, guys, I mean, if you guys are listening to this, people are just eating it. Oh, by the way, this episode is going to be explicit. People are just eating
start off with that shit.
People are just eating a
like,
fucking burger on the counter.
Yeah, that's true.
It just looks like a fucking burger.
Yeah, no, they do. This is the thing, right? This is like this whole thing of like, you know, like what is a gourmet burger now? And like these guys are like making this idea that a gourmet burger is like 2 thin patties stacked with cheese on it.
Yeah, this one has an egg.
Okay, and an egg.
You have to pay extra for it.
Okay, well, that's fucked up.
And by the way, we're in the West Loop, so it has like all the hip restaurants. Yeah. The whole strip of West Randolph has, everybody's got burgers. The French restaurant I walked by earlier, people on the terrace had burgers. And
like
there's a burger bar.
So like even on Friday last week, so like on Friday, the weekend before this past weekend, that Friday, I went to Grainshaw Burger Bar, had a great burger, and then went upstairs and they had a burlesque show going on upstairs. Like, they don't have a burlesque show next door.
You don't get a burlesque show for
the price of a burger? You don't get a burlesque show with your burger. It's horrible. Every burger should come with a burlesque show.
So, as I said, like, I've mentioned before that I want the show to be more about exploring creativity, the social creativity. This is more experimental on, like, experimenting with the podcast, but there is something to be said about food and craft and what's popular around burgers. And it's a big deal for a lot of foodies to be crossing the country, crossing the city to experience the best burger or the best whatever.
Yeah.
But and we've talked about this before together, not being recorded. Like, okay, fine, it's the best burger. Is it really worth waiting 2 hours for? Is it really worth crossing the country for?
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out. But most of the time, I've always, and I'm the first one to go cross the country and go visit somewhere because I get excited about ads.
Yeah.
But I equally get excited about McDonald's, like, seasonal burgers. They're never what they look at in the advertising.
No,
even though I work in advertising.
Of course not.
But,
I mean, that's glue. It's like,
So, let's maybe have a quick look at some of the other. So most of the reviews are very popular on Yelp, right? So
I mean, there's got to be something to this. Like, if they're sustaining this for so long, like I lived in Chicago for 2 years, right?
Right.
When I first moved to Chicago, that was like the place to go.
Yes.
Everybody's like, you got to go to Au Cheval, and it's like, okay. You know, but I mean, that's 2 years ago. You're like, if this was just a fad that like what hit really quick and died out.
That's true.
That's sort of the thing that I'm like kind of so interested about. That it's like,
that's true.
2 years later, and I don't know when they opened.
That's true. Some of those reviews are from 2015 and
okay,
2017.
So that's,
right?
There you go, right? So I mean, this is like they're sustaining. This is not like a 2-hour wait 3 years later. That's pretty
true.
Strong.
Yes, absolutely. So now we have another Yelper, Jose C., who's an elite 2017 Yelper, I might add. Has reviewed about 322 restaurants. Any news? No. Where to begin with Au Cheval? Just simply amazing. I ordered their single cheeseburger and added bacon and an egg. You shouldn't order it any other way. We're going to have to do that. The single comes with 2 patties and their double comes with 3 patties. It confused me at first.
So it's not a single, it's a double.
Guys,
what the hell's that about?
He got confused by that. Everything from the perfectly toasted bun, the egg well seasoned, thick cut bacon, the cheese and the beef just went perfectly together. That sounds like a burger so far. This is without doubt the best burger in town. The hype is definitely real. Au Cheval keeps it simple. They don't do exotic ingredients to give you a sloppy burger that you can't even taste all the ingredients. In my personal opinion, I feel that the reason why it's so good is because they don't add any lettuce or tomato or any other veggies to water down all the fired ingredients. I will be coming here for a very long time. I'm not sure that's...
it sounds like a Shake Shack burger.
It does, right?
Yeah. Like a Shake Shack burger, a basic Shake Shack burger, I think it's 2 patties.
That's right.
Maybe not. I think it might.
2 small patties, but it's kind of like on trend.
Double...
The Five Guys are 2 small patties as well.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the thing now.
As far as their service, also on point. Don't get scared with the long lines and wait time. If they tell you an hour, just wait it out. Totally worth it. They told me an hour is only 15 minutes. Well, for us, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. But
yeah. Been there for a while, yeah.
The guys are great. The food comes out very fast. Yeah, it looks, because they've waited so long, they're like turning tables around like crazy. I don't know, we're going to find out. I'm very curious. And I want to try more than the burger. We're going to have to test out a couple of other things.
They got to have sides. They got to have more than the burger, right? Yeah, absolutely. So, let's see.
To do this properly justice.
We got 12 people ahead of us now.
12 people. All right, that's not too bad.
We've halved it.
Good. Well, let's talk a little bit quickly about where we are, because Three Floyds is... so this is the bar of Three Floyds, is it?
Yeah, well, it's a Three Floyds
which is a brewery.
Bar, yeah, it's a great brewery, yeah.
It's a really good brewery. Where are they based? Do you know?
Wait, Three Floyds is based in Indiana, I believe. Hang on a second. I'm almost positive they're Indiana. Yeah, they're in Munster, Indiana. Yeah.
Cool. So it's a really good brewery, very nice bar. We're tasting a nice session IPA.
Yeah,
session
Yum
pale.
Yum. Yeah, it's called Yum Yum Session IPA.
Perfect.
Session Pale Ale. Yeah, it's really good. And this bar is just pretty chill. They do appetizers and stuff like that, but it's a good place. Nice, decent sized bar for here. So yeah, Three Floyds have a really good selection of beers, and they do bring in some of their special beers here as well. So it's cool.
Cool. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about you before we move on to the restaurant part.
All right.
Where are you from?
Long Island. Well, born in California, raised in Long Island. So
that was one of the funny things, because I was born in Long Island, and we were born I was born and you grew up. When did you move to Long Island?
When I was 3 or 4.
Oh, so there was a year or two we were
in California. Yeah, we were Southern California, just south of LA. So,
cool.
But that's
I was born in Port Washington. You lived in Port Jefferson.
Port Jefferson, yeah, a little further out on Long Island on the North Shore.
Yeah. So, and then what'd you get into school? You studied photography, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I went to Rhode
But did you start
school.
with that, or?
No, I didn't. So I went to Rhode Island School of Design, studied architecture for a year, and then I went into photography.
Cool. And before that, while you were growing up, we're kind of I don't know, what kind of kid were you?
Yeah.
Is it true? Is it the whole high school categorization between jocks and geeks and stuff? Is it? Did you feel that? Is it true?
Maybe a little bit in some of that stuff, but I think that my experience was different, probably in the sense that I went to public school up until 6th grade.
Okay.
Oh.
No, it's okay.
Until 6th grade. And then from 7th and 8th grade, I went to Catholic school near my house called Infant Jesus. And then from 9th grade until 11th grade, I went to Catholic school at a place called St. Anthony's High School. And then on 12th grade, I transferred to Stony Brook Prep, which was closer to my house. It was like a boarding school / prep school. And that was mainly because I failed theology. Whoops. Anyways, effectively that was why. So I failed theology in like Catholic school. It's sort of like it. So my last year was there. So I think that like St. Anthony's, they had a really good football team. They were state champions at some point. I wasn't really involved with the football team at all. I played ice hockey. I would never say like I was a jock per se. Like I was probably like the lazier of all of that.
The lazier?
The lazier of like any sort of sports person.
Right, okay.
Like I was never really a big sports person. I enjoyed ice hockey, but I think that, it's like a lot of that stuff, I just wasn't really committed to it at all. Like I didn't really care. I was kind of like, whatever, like it's fun, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I probably enjoyed more like just doing my own thing and kind of whatever. So that place did have a little bit of a separation of jocks, a little bit, like all the, football, like each team, if they were playing like over the weekend, on Fridays they got to wear their jersey. Whatever that sport was, that was like the thing you got to do, because we obviously wore uniforms in Catholic school. So we all wore the same uniforms. Like your freshman, sophomore classes wore like a maroon colored tie. And then your junior and senior classes all wore a blue colored tie. Okay. So that kind of like differentiated as well. Same thing, the jacket. So we wore like a maroon colored tie with a maroon jacket for freshman and sophomore, and then juniors, seniors wore a blue jacket and a blue colored tie. And then they would wear like their jerseys over their shirts without the jacket on Fridays if they were playing over the weekend. So ice hockey did that, basketball did it, football, etc. So we would do that. But I wasn't really ever that like committed to it. And then I had a really good math teacher there, Brother Shane, who was really cool, and he really like taught me a lot about like, he kind of like grew me up on math a little bit. It was awesome. But then anyways, I ended up going to Stony Brook High School. That's where I graduated from. That sports thing, my sports whole situation there, like they had some people who were really good at sports. They didn't require gym, okay. So you didn't have to take gym there, but because the state required you to do some of that stuff, so we had to play a sport. We were required to play a sport outside of school, like extracurricular. So when I started, I was on track team, but I missed most of my track runs because I sat on the tree reading. Like I remember the first one, the teacher came up to me and he was like, dude, like you missed your run. I was like leaning against the tree reading a book, and I was like, oh.
That sounds exactly like the Hare and the Tortoise.
I was just sort of like, oh, well, okay.
Do you remember
what do I do?
What kind of stuff were you reading at the time?
I don't remember what I was reading, but I was just sitting there reading, and like, that was just really, really funny. And like, that was...
Well, you literally just sat down in the middle of your sports class and read.
Yes, yeah. I was reading against a tree. Like, we were to meet, like a track meet, like, and they were like running. And it's one of those things where, like, I had one race. I think I was running the 400 meter. And, like, I just was sitting the whole time because, like, what do you do in between? You just sit. You just read. You do nothing.
Right.
And apparently they called my run, and I missed it, or I ignored it. I don't know which one. And, like, just kept reading. And then, like, he came up, he was like, you missed it. I was like, oh, okay. Well, when's the next race? He's like, well, you're done for the day. I was like, well, okay. Well, I'll just stay here. I was like, thanks. So that wasn't, yeah. My world was never like a jock world, I guess you could say.
Right.
I enjoyed more time, like, spending time with, like, my friends. And, like, I had a lot of, my friends there. It was, like, I always managed to kind of break the rules a bit in terms of being like, well, this is kind of dumb. Like, what are we doing? Like simple things. Like, we had a Dunkin' Donuts, like, right next to the campus. And it was, like, only seniors could go to Dunkin' Donuts.
Really?
In between classes. Like, nobody else could. But a lot of my friends, my girlfriend at the time, they were juniors. And it was like, so we would like go to Dunkin' Donuts. And then I got in trouble because they were like, oh, well, you took a bunch of people to Dunkin' Donuts. And I was like, well, yeah, so what?
That's really fascinating because my general knowledge about school in the U.S. is mostly coming from movies, which is fantasy. I mean, it has some inspiration and truth, but anyway.
It does, yeah, a little bit. But I mean, it's like, I think there's a lot of these like arbitrary rules of like, there's no point to that rule. It's like, Dunkin' Donuts is like across a very small street. You can walk there and go to the, like, there's no big deal, you know? But it's sort of like, get permission, and, you know, like, alright, you know? So, I mean, yeah, we ignored it. And the other side, too, I also got in trouble. I mean, you know, we would go for rides on the beach and, like, hang out at the beach at lunchtime. And they didn't like
That's
that.
quite funny.
So, you know.
All right, so, like, the interest in architecture, design, and, like, how does that...
No, I think
got
it's
interested
like,
in that.
yeah, I mean, like, for me, I love architecture. I think architecture and design, I mean, it's like our built world. It's sort of, you know, this is what we experience every day. I mean, you know, we're in a bar that's like, you know, it's really interesting. I mean, it's got these beautiful leather couches, and it's like, that's the experience of what we do every day.
Yeah.
Everything we go into is creative. And people think about it. Somebody's thought about this at some
Yes.
point. You know, and I think that's really interesting. So that fascinates me. I think it's like the difference between just like making things and like engineers making things, and then like architects thinking about like how does the light flow through it? How do people move through the building? How do they experience the space? How do they experience the building? What do they do there? Why do they do this there? And how can we make it a better place for people to operate? I think that's really, really interesting. And it should be. I mean, that's
Cool.
like, you know, we spend most of our days in these office spaces. Like,
Yes.
you know, fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, like, you know, a lot of them are quite boring. I think unfortunately in that sense. I mean, a lot of them are just these, like, blank spaces that are these dead zones that people are miserable. And that's not how people are meant to operate. And I think that, you know, architects now are making things more interesting from you know, like a workplace point of view. And that's good. It should. You know, and it's like, I mean, if you spend most of your waking day in an office space, then it should be interesting. Or at least it should stimulate you to a degree.
Yeah. Cool.
And I think that that's really, you know, unbelievable that, like, you know, even like hospitals, I think hospitals are fascinating. Like, so many hospitals have small windows and, like, they were built in this very, like, almost like prison-like way.
Yeah.
And that's really fucked up. Like, you know, it's like, I mean, light makes you healthier, I think. It's like you should have light and sort of openness and space and breathing room. And it's like, with so many hospitals, you go into them and, like, you just walk in the space, you feel sick. And it's like, that's not a place to heal and grow and, like, come to
Absolutely.
life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I think, like, architects now are thinking about that and starting to change how they think about it. And there's a lot of restrictions around medical places in terms of how you build it and what you can do. But the other side is, I think you can build it in a better way. So I think architecture is fascinating.
Yeah. Cool.
It's about, like, kind of moving light and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then on the photography side of things, because you worked as a photographer for a few years as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so I worked a bit in photography. So I did some projects with, like, I photographed the prison system in Arizona, photographed the death row inmates, and then I photographed...
would that be considered photojournalism to do those kinds
in a
of
sense,
topics?
yeah, you're building a story, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
'cause
building a photo story, so yeah, a little bit, yeah. You're telling
Is
a
that
story
what you were
about something.
studying as well, or?
No, I just studied photography. You know, it was really anything. It's like more creative photography. It's like anything you want, right?
Sure.
So like some of the earlier projects I did, like, was really like I did these, you know, as like any like early photographer would do, would be like taking pictures of myself, like, you know, as a forensic like photography, and making fake blood, splattering the bathroom with fake blood. It's just
Wow,
fun.
you did that.
Yeah, so I like looked up how do you make fake blood and like
Yeah.
made a bunch of it and threw it all over a bathroom and like
Wow.
put on like a suit with like, you know, gloves and did like, you know, the whole thing like it was forensic photography, trying to tell like a story of like what would that look like.
Before Dexter came out?
Before what?
Before the TV series Dexter came out?
Yes, this was before that, yeah, for sure. But it's like, you know, I think it's like, it's funny, like talking to a lot of my friends like that are photographers, like they basically like went through that same thing. They were like, oh yeah, it's something similar, that's fun, you know. Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, you're just sort of exploring and playing, right? And like, for me, like I think like my personality doesn't lend itself very well to street photography. Okay. Like I love street photography, and I think there's some amazing street photographers out there. Obviously, I mean, there's incredible work. It's like, but for me, it doesn't lend itself to like my personality. Like I can't really like. I feel very anxious, I guess, like walking down the street, taking pictures of like people randomly on the street. So I prefer like controlled scenes or things where it's like still life or controlled, right? And so I think that was kind of this draw, which was interesting for like prison, where it's this controlled scene where the people in those prisons can react to me, but they are in a sense also blocked from me, which is kind of strange. But you know, where like I photographed prisoners who were in this like these like dog run cages. So every like they're required by law to have outside exposure for at least 1 hour every 48 hours, I believe. I think it's 48 hours. And they would put them in these like dog run type cages where they'd get the air and the outside sun. So they have them like kind of in these rows, and we went out there and photographed that. But again, they were behind these like things, so sort of like you could just like do it and just like we were wearing stab vests and goggles and stuff like that, and like there wasn't really anything they could do to you. So I kind of like almost think like that for me was like, well, yeah, sort of this still very controlled environment that you could photograph in without these sort of like very like confrontational. It was confrontational, but in the sense of like they can't get beyond the cage to like do anything to me. Right. Which was kind of interesting. So.
Wow.
But
it must be quite an experience.
It was fun. I got nightmares around it, but it was interesting.
I'm sure.
And I photographed like death chambers. So I photographed like a gas chamber, lethal injection chamber, from like inside the lethal injection room, and then also from like the viewing rooms of both. So I stood inside like the gas chamber and photographed it. It was interesting. I mean, just learning about a lot of that stuff was really, really interesting to me, at least. You know, that again, like an architecture of death, is fascinating. It's like you have people who have designed and built these systems to kill people, and that is architecture. Prison architecture is created in a certain way to control people and to manage them, and to be able to move them in ways to keep guards safe, but also to, you know, make it efficient. So it's sort of like really interesting to me, at least. But, yeah.
So how did you move from there to Japan, I guess? Or is that the main next step sort of thing?
No, yeah. So I went to LA. I followed a girl to LA.
All right.
As we all do. Follow a girl somewhere at some point.
Yeah.
So I followed a girl to LA. Worked for a photographer there. He was doing fashion photography. Was working in the studio, doing various like kind of stuff in the studio. Left that, went to another company that was doing a lot of like celebrity photography. Was there for not very long at all. I got fired from that because basically like I didn't really follow their processes very well. It's sort of my MO. So I didn't follow their process very well, and I got fired from that. And then I went and worked for a art gallery, photography art gallery. Was there for like a year or so, and then I had the opportunity to go to Japan to go kind of work on some projects there. And it was only literally supposed to be like 3 months, so I went and loved it, and then started working for Saatchi's full time as like an intern at first, and then kind of full time, and then was working on Toyota and Lexus there on global campaigns. So we did stuff for like Toyota's Hybrid Synergy Drive, and then the Singapore stuff came up. But I was in Japan for like 3 years. Worked on a bunch of campaigns with Saatchi, which was a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah, and we met. I arrived because I was working with you as the strategist, and you were on the client side of things. We met the first day I arrived, and we went out for drinks that night with a bunch of people. And I think we've been friends since, I would say.
We have, absolutely, yeah. No, absolutely, yeah. It's actually really funny. It was like, 'cause so Melanie, who was your boss, obviously, at that time, she was a strategy director there. And I remember she was telling us about, like, who was coming.
Oh, yeah?
And she was like, oh, this she said, like, oh, this, he's Dutch. This French Dutch guy is going to be coming as a new strategist. And I remember thinking, like, oh, that ought to be interesting. Like, okay, all right. She said your name, right? And I was like, okay. You know, obviously, like, in Singapore, I met a few Dutch people. I was like, cool. I was like, so my expectations of that were, like, really thick Dutch accent.
Yes.
That's what I was expecting, like, when you showed up. And I was like, oh, okay, like, it's cool, like, whatever, you know, they obviously hire the right people, like, that's cool. And, like, you know, then you showed up and you had this, like, not Dutch accent, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. All right. And then obviously I learned your backstory and, you know, everything, but, yeah, it was really funny, because my expectations when they first said Dutch, I was like, all right. Like, you have these, like, preconceived ideas of, like, okay, this is what a Dutch person is.
Nice.
And it's like, so it's kind of interesting.
Awesome.
You know?
That is really
funny.
interesting. Thank you.
Anyway,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, we met there, and that was it, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, now here we are.
Great.
In
Here we
Singapore.
are.
But, yeah, no, I mean, even then, you know, it's like, I think it's been awesome, right? It's like, because then you were there for, like, 2 years.
Yeah.
We were in Singapore about 2 years. You left before I did. And then my fiance moved here, Chicago, so we came here. But I mean, like, even in the interim, it's like, it's great because I think a lot of people, like, a lot of times when you meet people abroad, like, and they leave the place where you are, you never stay in touch.
Yeah, and Singapore's got a lot of that going on.
Right.
It's like the transient expats. Well, for the expat like us.
Yeah. And, like, that's the thing. Like, there's this, like, transition of, like, hey, it's been great. Whatever, you know, like, you know, out of sight, out of mind. But I think that, like, you know, something we've talked about before is that it's, like, it's been awesome that, like, you know, we've stayed in touch, and I think that's one thing that, like, you're really, really good at. It's, like,
Thank you.
You know, really, like, keeping in touch with everybody and, like, making sure that happens. And now, I mean, it's awesome. You're in Chicago, which is
Exactly.
fucking great.
All right, so we have the app on the no wait. Like, where are we at in line right now? Let's
So
have
it's
a quick look.
9:05, and we are at 5 people ahead of us.
5 people ahead of us, so
So at this point, we kind of have to wait.
we're just gonna wait. Alright, so we're at Au Cheval. We're back at recording. We are actually in the famous best burger maybe in the world, possibly.
We'll have to find out.
We're gonna have to try a few dishes, I think.
I think so. So I think that, like, definitely like the marrow. I like the roasted marrow bones
Oh yeah, I think we're gonna have to
with
try the
beef cheek
marrow.
marmalade. That sounds good. And then I'm gonna get a single cheeseburger with egg and bacon. And then what we talked about getting, like, splitting one of the bologna sandwiches.
Yeah, should we just like? Are you up for splitting a burger and trying the bologna sandwich as well?
Yeah, because we can take it away if we want anyway.
And then some fries, I suspect.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Should we try the salad, or we just like forget about the salad?
Forget the salad.
Fuck the
This
salad.
is not about salad.
We are not about the salad. This is not a salad place. This is not the vegan episode.
No, this is like, yeah, bone marrow, burgers, bologna, fries.
Okay, so should we have an egg on top of the fries? Is that necessary, do you think? That's an option.
I mean, no. I prefer the fries normal.
Oh, I think it comes with it.
It does? The French fries? No, it just says French fries.
Where?
Down on the side.
No, you can have those ones. The crispy fries with Mornay sauce, garlic aioli, and fresh farm egg.
Where do you see that? Oh,
That's
I
what
see.
these
That's
guys
like
have
more
right
like
behind
okay.
You check behind you, those guys have that.
Yeah, does it look good?
It looks like fries with an egg on top. I'm sorry.
Well, shit.
I think we might have to try that. I don't
Alright,
really
fuck it,
understand.
get
Like, I think they would make your fries soggy, but that's
Yeah,
my-
fuck it, get that. That's cool. Do that. So let's do. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll do that one with all the stuff. I'm gonna get a cheeseburger with egg and bacon.
Yes.
Then we're getting bone marrow. So bone marrow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh. All right. Never mind. Well, anyways, cheers.
Cheers. Oh, mine is smaller. All right. We're talking about beer, by the way.
Good clarification. That'd be a fucked up bar.
Ooh, this is really nice, though.
What'd you get? Which one's that?
I got I got L'Ingénue, the Ingenue Miskatonic Brewing. It's a citrusy and peppery farmhouse ale, dry with a spicy finish. It's really nice.
Can I take a sip?
What's yours?
That's the. It's like a Brooklyn Brewery summer ale.
Oh yeah, that's good.
It's good. It's like a nice light beer. I'm gonna get the cheeseburger with egg bacon. You get the bologna. Then we'll do the crispy fries.
And
we'll talk about the marrow with these guys.
We'll talk about the marrow. Yeah, I would like to try it, but
let's see what it is.
If it's proper bone marrow, otherwise.
It sounds like it's more the beef cheek, like marmalade in the bone marrow. A marrow bone.
But if you serve I mean, you can't eat the bones on themselves, so what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Hey. All right, cool. So yes.
Question around this.
Sorry?
So is this like the roasted marrow bones? Is it like beef cheek marmalade just put in the bone?
No, the bone. It's not served on the side of the bone. The bone.
So you still have like a bone marrow.
We get the marrow.
Yeah. You get like three or four bones. They're split long ways down the center and then roasted.
And we have the bone marrow in it, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right.
Just checking.
Yeah. Sorry, I just read like you get like the marrow bones and then you have like. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So we'll take one of those, and then I'm gonna do the single cheeseburger with an egg and bacon,
and I'm gonna do the bologna sandwich,
and then we're gonna do the crispy fries with Mornay sauce.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
Get it going right away.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Sounds
All
good.
right. This is exciting.
Yeah.
This is the place.
Yeah. Well, cheers for bringing this to life, man. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wait, I thought.
Okay, so we received our fries first.
But I thought our fries had like.
An egg on top?
I don't think you got the right order.
Yeah, you're right.
We ordered that one with crispy fries with like the whole thing, not the fries.
Yes. This is starting weird.
Yeah. Well, maybe I didn't explain it right. Maybe I didn't go through the full thing, but.
It's also kind of funny to get the fries first, but I guess.
Yeah, before you get the marrow. Yeah, that's true.
Pretty sure we're gonna get the food fast anyway, but.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I thought, didn't we order the...
So we ordered like the fries with like the egg and all that stuff. If you can like send our server over, that'd be awesome. Because I think he may have misunderstood like the fries we were actually ordering.
Did you say side of fries?
No, well I said crispy fries, the one that's like on the
With the
menu
Mornay
above
sauce
that.
and the egg on top.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do this.
Alright, cool.
Alright, cool.
Anyways.
Alright, well, from my perspective as the food critic, I actually don't really get upset about shit like that. I don't care.
They'll fix it. It's like
They'll
fine.
fix it. I don't really care. That's fine. Just like the wait time. I'm like, well, the wait time is the wait time. Just like you don't have to eat here if you don't
Well,
want
the
to.
nice part is there's a good bar next door.
Give us the double pie.
That doesn't hurt.
He's got them in for you. I'm sorry. I actually brought it to the wrong table. It's real good.
Oh, okay.
Alright, cool.
Sorry, I was on it.
Alright, cool. Thank you.
Alright.
It's alright.
That was our fry. Sorry. So we didn't order the chicken. How did you like the chicken?
You get It's so good.
Is it good?
So it's a big portion, right? Because I can see the bones and everything.
It's a whole bird.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's delicious.
We're taking it home to watch Game of Thrones.
There you go. I watched it last night, so I
We
won't
went
say
for
anything.
it.
Oh, yeah, it's all right,
I've not
it's
been
all right.
watching yet, so don't tell me about the new season. So
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm behind. Okay, so we're gonna do an audio description. We got roasted bone marrow with all the marrow bone inside.
Taking it is.
They're just like stealing the whole fucking thing. With a beef cheek marmalade and some really thick toast. That's another thing. Like when I went to Texas, I don't understand the whole concept of Texas toast. Like, why the fuck would you have a thick toast? That's my French sensitivity. I don't really understand it. No, right?
He's from Texas, so.
Oh, you're from Texas? I'm so sorry for insulting your toast.
They're a bunch of morons.
The same time, I went to Austin for the first time and I had a chicken fried steak. And I was like, it's steak. Why do you call it chicken? Maybe this is me being thick, but chicken fried steak, what is it? It's a beef steak. The what?
You gotta get chicken
Fried chicken. That makes
Chicken
sense,
fried
yeah.
chicken.
It's chicken.
Yes.
Why just go to fried steak?
Exactly. That's exactly what my point was. I know, but it's fried like fried chicken. What do you mean it's fried like fried chicken? You put it in oil, like you fry it, whatever.
Don't get her started. She'll love it.
Okay, so we got roasted bone marrow,
I'm just fucking gonna do what he said.
slathering the whole thing.
Okay, let's see what he said, right? Like, let's put a little bit of marmalade on top.
It looks good, I have to say. It looks real. Oh shit, it's hot. This looks delicious. Alright, I'm trying the marrow first.
Man, that's pretty good.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, like, does Dan get to live in New York with this new?
Okay, this is awesome. I'm trying the beef cheek marmalade. The bone marrow is so good. It's really good.
Fucking tasty.
Oh shit, it's hot.
That's good.
Okay, this is really good.
Yeah. It's alright, man. You can't win them all.
No, but I did say in the beginning of the whole thing, like, if I like
That's
it,
the
I
whole
like
idea, right? That's the whole idea, yeah. Oh, man. That's fucking tasty.
it. Okay. If I want to be critical, it's difficult to mess up bone marrow. If you get the right kind of bone marrow, you just roast it.
That's fair. But
Obviously not the vegan episode. I just want to lick the bone.
yeah, pretty much. Damn, that's fucking tasty.
I love that the it's so rich. The gelatin and the fatness of it. It's so good. It drips in your mouth. You have like the fatty,
man.
meaty feel of the whole
It's
thing.
even on the plate, though. That's fucking tasty.
Did you try the marmalade?
I did, yeah. The marmalade's nice.
It's nice. It was very hot. It's I think I just prefer the bone marrow on its own, I have to say. Although, I mean, the marmalade's nice, right? But, all right, what do you think of the marmalade? How would you describe it?
I like the fact that it's like kind of sweet meat. It's like so good.
You like the sweet in meats?
Sometimes, yeah. Like in this
I'm
one,
always
I do.
ambivalent about sweetness with meat stuff. I don't know, sweet and salty. It is good. It holds together, I have to say. I'm trying to find excuses. It's really good.
Right.
I'm trying to find some other things to say that are really good.
It's just not there. It just tastes nice. I kind of like it.
This is really good.
Yeah, I love it.
I like the marmalade. I'm not the fan of like super sweet stuff, but it does have a nice spicy kick to
Well, I
it.
think you can still taste the beef too, right?
Still taste
That's
the
the
beef.
thing. So it's like, I always worry with these types of things.
I would love another beer. I'm gonna have something else.
I can bring the list over if you want to see it. Or
Yeah, I'll have them. I'll check the list.
sure, no problem. Are we still enjoying the marrow here a little bit, or
This is really good.
no rush?
I just. Yeah, this is really good.
I'm like, fuck.
Like, I was hoping to be bitching about everything. Oh, yes, all the hype. Oh, my God, this is actually really good. I love it. How often would I wait 2 hours for it? Actually, I would, because we're right next door to a nice bar. Who cares? Thank you so much. Okay, so in the meantime, we received the fries with egg on top. I'm not sure how we're supposed to eat the egg on top of the fries.
I don't know.
Because right now we don't have anything else to eat with. But have you tried them?
Yeah, the fries are nice. I haven't broken the egg though.
That's true. Which actually, that is a classic French thing to be dipping eggs into fries into egg yolk.
Is it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's not usually served on top of the fries. I've never seen that like that.
Full
but-
egg, yeah. I mean, it's just like a cooked, like a sunny side up egg.
So we got like fries with a sunny side up egg and
Some like
I guess this
gravies
is
on the side, yeah.
cheese sauce. Yeah. The Mornay cheese sauce. Which, all right, this is where I can start being a little bit critical.
Go.
Having another taste of it.
It's like,
Okay, taste. I mean, yes, it is a cheese sauce.
it's like standard.
As a dipping sauce, it could be a lot. I mean, a little bit more
Thank you.
flavorful. I find it a little bit bland as a dipping
Yeah, it's
sauce.
like whatever. Like the one on the left, this one here is like, I don't even know what it is.
I think it's supposed to be an aioli. Yeah, that's garlicky for sure. That's good.
Alright.
No?
Yeah, no, I took a quick dip of it.
No, the Mornay sauce, I'm not convinced. I mean, yeah, the aioli is. Yeah, that's aioli. It's decent. Mornay sauce is good too, but I'm not sure what to do with the egg.
Yeah.
Right now, actually, just to describe, they took our other plates away. So right now we have one plate with the egg and the fries in the middle and no cutlery. So I guess I could take the egg with my hands and fold it, but that would be a little bit awkward once the...
Got a knife. Hang on.
He contacted me several times. Him and Paul were trying
Oh, actually, some of the cheese is melted on the fries here, so that makes sense.
That's different because he's also the associate chair.
I was just pick up bits of egg now.
Yeah, it's a bit random.
Kind of tastes like a fried egg.
So no one wants that job.
It is a good egg, but
I mean, you know, again, the kind of thing.
Yeah.
so I don't know how many places in Chicago serve bone marrow, but maybe we should just go there.
Right. Well, let's see how the burger is. Yeah, what do you think?
It's all right. Oh, I know what this tastes like now. The Mornay sauce is bechamel. It tastes like bechamel.
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, pretty much. I mean, that's what it tastes like.
Alright.
I was trying to find out. Bechamel sauce is pretty much just cream, milk, cheese, and usually a bit of something to hold it all together, which tends to be either flour or a little bit of flour or something like that. So you get that in lasagna and a bunch of other stuff.
Alright.
But I find it a little bit, it's like kind of nauseous. Hi.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
All right. I'm taking your first bite. I got the bologna sandwich. JP, you got the burger. You're cutting it down. What's your first impression?
Good.
Is that a double?
Huh?
Is that a double?
Well, yeah, that's their single, but I don't know.
It's got 3 patties.
Okay, well,
Cool.
I just ordered a normal, but I don't know.
I had a bite of bologna. It's the same bread, pretty much. So, I mean, bread is, it's good bread. It's a brioche type bread.
Yeah, or whatever.
So I had a bite of the burger, and I had a bite of the bologna. They're both good sandwiches.
Like, whatever.
I would not wait 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. Right.
As excited as I was about the bone marrow, the fries kind of like broke it a little bit. The burger. All right, so here I don't know if it's supposed to be a double. I don't think we ordered a double, but we got 3 patties, thick cut bacon, egg. Where's the cheese? It tastes good. It's quite like medium done stuff, I guess. There's not really any sauces in there, are there?
Really.
It's kind of a bit dry, I think.
Yeah, it's like okay.
There's a slice. There's some cucumber, and actually that's it. There's a little bit of cucumber.
So you were really into it. You thought you would like it.
The patty is seasoned itself. It's quite juicy. It's tasty. I don't think it's overly salty like the woman said on the review.
It's not very salty, no. I wouldn't say that.
It's got the right amount of spices and
I think
stuff.
it's fine. I mean, it's like,
I think it's good.
yeah. It's nothing like,
Well, I don't really, but this is the kind of stuff like, why is this the best burger in the world? Or one of them? Or one of the best in America?
I'd agree. It's sort of like,
It's a good
well,
burger. Don't get me wrong. I like it.
nice, but yeah. Is it like, holy fuck? No.
The bologna sandwich, it's got like so really thin paper cut like with some cheese, I think, and melted stuff.
Alright, well, it is what it is.
Bologna is a lot more salty, but that kind of makes sense because it's a deli meat, so understandable, I think, sort of. Tastes pretty good.
Ah, well. Yeah, man.
That's a bit of a downer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a downer. It's not bad, but I think I got really excited after the bone marrow.
Yeah, the bone marrow is good.
Let's get into the cool down questions. Now that we have the verdict on the burger, I'll just ask the traditional. Like, what kind of ice cream flavor do you usually go for?
Coconut. That's my favorite. I fucking love coconut.
Cool.
Right? The best I ever had was in Hawaii when I was in high school with my parents. Went on like a family trip. There was this ice cream there. Coconut ice cream, like fresh shaved coconut in it. Where we're like, we had them like freeze dry some of it and ship it back to New York. It was so good.
Really?
Oh, it was amazing. Your stuff was like, oh my god, unbelievable. Like, That's like the bar for like coconut ice cream for me. And it's a shame because like so many places don't sell coconut ice cream. You go to the grocery store, now you'll find like the hot thing. There's like some brands of like coconut milk ice cream.
Yeah.
Where they're using coconut milk instead of instead of milk to make the ice cream. But it's not like it's like chocolate chip ice cream made with coconut milk. But you're like, no, like just give me coconut ice cream. And then I was like, there's one that I found that's good. It's like coconut with pistachios. No. Coconut with almonds, I think it is. Sorry. Coconut with almonds. And it's good, but nobody really makes like straight up coconut ice cream. Which is funny, given like the rage around coconut milk and coconut water and you're like, why don't you make
ice cream?
Yeah, like where's this straight up coconut ice cream? What are you doing? But anyway.
Good.
That's what's holding you back this whole time.
Alright. What are you reading at the moment?
What am I reading?
Reading.
I just finished a book called Priestdaddy, which is awesome. It's a really fun memoir by a poet, and she basically like it's about a time when she was like 30. Her and her husband moved back to her parents' house. Her dad happens to be a Catholic priest, and she moves back in with like her mom and dad in the rectory in the Midwest, and like basically like that story about that obviously brings up a lot of stuff about like her past growing up in the rectory and kind of that history and stuff, but really strong like just sort of like the visuals she describes. She's a poet, so she's really good at that sort of like the way she writes is very like descriptive and very visual and like anyways, it's really nice. So, yeah. The next one's called The Wanderer, so we'll see how that is. And that one's about like astronauts going to Mars. So we'll see. I haven't started it yet, so.
And of course, another question I usually talk about, which we've talked about as friends as well, but we haven't. Gaming. We've been talking about doing game nights, but we haven't gotten around to it in the past couple of months.
Yeah.
A few months. What would you say is your favorite kind of game, or like do you have a favorite either game, board game, or?
I do like strategy games. So like I think like Splendor is a really fun game. It's a very like I guess it's competitive in the sense like you're one-on-one against each other. It's not a cooperative game in that sense, right? It's like
I actually don't know it. What is it about?
So it's basically like you're all these like Renaissance merchants, and you're against each other trying to build up your empire in essence, right? To like get all of like the jewels and to basically build up your hoard and become like the most profitable. And like put your other person out of business in a way. And so what you're doing is you're like, you have to collect like rubies or other gems in a certain way in order to get like, a certain number of them to win the game. But it happens in like stages, and you have to strategize like, well, am I going to go after the red ones, or am I going to go after the green ones, and like, what do I have now? Also, like, assuming your strategy may be right or wrong compared to, of course, what the other person's doing. So, in that way, it's fun. It's a very, very quiet game, I think. I think it's like, it's not a fast-moving game, but it's nice. It's fun. So I think it's great for, like, 2 to 3 people to play. Like, when you get a bigger group, a bit rowdy, it's not right. That game is a lot of fun. But I also like games that are a lot of people having fun. So I think some of the things we've played, right, where it's like I think House on the Hill was a lot of fun.
Betrayal on the House on the Hill is a great fun.
Yeah, Betrayal on the House on the Hill, yeah, because you're like making, you're kind of making stories for the characters and having fun, and then like you get into like the haunting and. I like that stuff of like where you really make up you make the stories, right? And that's what it's about. It's like And that creativity, like creating a story, is a lot of fun. And even like, so stuff that I haven't really gotten into, but I want to, where we kind of started a bit in Singapore, was like the pirate game we played, right?
Yeah, so that's what I've been reading this weekend. The new edition of 7th Sea.
Right, 7th Sea. So like that was a lot of fun. I think that was like really, I enjoyed, like it was a lot of fun to like make up your character and, you know, get into it and kind of go like, oh yeah, what would I do as this person?
Yeah.
And you're almost acting at that point.
That's
Which
the role-playing
was fun,
game stuff.
yeah. And I've never really done role-playing game. Like that was actually the only time I've ever done a role-playing game.
Good.
So
We're going to do that.
yeah, so I should do more of it. Yeah. But, you know.
Excellent.
And then on the party side, I do like things where it's just like kind of, you know, fucking around and making up random shit. Like Cards Against Humanity is fun.
That's a great one.
It's like, it does get a little boring after a while, a little tiring, but it is fun to play with like people.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right, well, final verdict on the burger and Au Cheval. Like, what do you think? Like, would you give it a rating out of 10 or like a few words?
Like a 5 or a 6. I mean, for me, it's
That's what I was
crazy.
thinking. I'm thinking this is a 5 or a 6.
Yeah,
All right, it's a good burger. Like 5 or 6 in a good burger world. Like it's a good burger.
That's good. Yeah, that's it.
That's about it, really.
Will I wait 2 hours again?
No, I'm not gonna do that again.
No, I won't.
And I'm really happy because I'm recording it. That's like the main intention is like the value is in the conversation and the recording of it.
Yeah, like for me, like will I wait 2 hours? Like whatever.
All right, well next time we'll try. If this works out, we might try some other overhyped restaurant in a different style or some other idea. We'll see.
Yeah.
This is worth it. It's a good fun conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, this is fun. I like this shit. This is cool. Well, I'm glad it's like came to life, you know? It's like, that's awesome. That's the beauty of it.
So, and obviously, you'll, as the listeners, you'll have to give us your opinion about the format. I'll find out in editing whether it works.
Yeah.
You'll tell me if you want to hear more of this kind of stuff. Like, should we spin it off? Should we, like, do a proper review? I don't know. We'll see, but...
Never know where it goes, but it can be fun.
All right, well, that's another episode of the Ice Cream for Everyone podcast. We didn't eat ice cream, but that's going to be maybe an idea for another episode. Find an ice cream parlor and take out my guests for ice cream so we can complement some of what we're talking about with some of the food. So that was another idea that I had. So I don't know. I think some of it worked. It was a bit of a letdown on the burger itself. Like, I mean, it was good, right? But after you wait over 3 hours or 2.5 hours for a burger, I don't know. Oh, by the way, the cucumber in the burger was probably pickles. But so if you enjoyed it, please share it with a friend of yours. Send them a link by email or share it on your favorite social network. If you have feedback, I'd love to hear what you think of this particularly experimental episode. Questions, comments, I'll always love to hear from you. You can contact me on Twitter. As I said, my username is ICVillum. Or you can post a comment on the Ice Cream for Everyone page on Facebook. Leave a review on iTunes. That's on your iPhone podcasting app. You can send me an email at www.icecreamforeveryone.net. Everything spelled out, Ice Cream for Everyone. And my email, so that's my main website, and my email is Willem, WILLEM, at icecreamforeveryone.net. And I think that's about it. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Till next time, bye.